Welcome to my maths class. Today I am going to explain you a chapter taken from the CBSE class 10 maths book named Linear Equation in Two Variables. Let me first begin with what we have to study in this chapter. Firstly, in this chapter we have the introduction, then we have the methods of solving the linear equation in two variables. Basically, there are two methods to solve any given linear equation. The first method is known as your graphical method, in which we have intersecting lines, parallel lines, coincident lines, and then the second method is known as your algebraic method. In algebraic method, we have to study about substitution method, elimination method, and cross multiplication method. Then after this we'll move to the next topic, which is known as conditions for solubility of linear equation. And lastly, we have the word problem. Linear equation in two variables. Now, what is linear equation? That is the first question that arises in anybody's mind. So, linear equation means any expression in which the highest power or the degree of the given variable is 1 is considered as a linear equation. Like, say for example, we can say like 2x plus 3y plus 5 is equals to 0. Where I have used two variables, one is x, the other one is y, and the highest power of the variable is 1. So this is now considered as a linear equation in two variables. Any equation basically has a format. So the format for the linear equation is ax plus by plus c is equals to 0. Where the x and y, they are your variables, your two variables, and a, b, c, they are your real numbers. Now let's move on to the second part, which is known as the methods. Methods means the way of solving any given linear equation in two variables. So basically there are two methods by which we can solve any given linear equation. The first method is known as graphical method, and the second one is known as the algebraic method. In graphical method, what we have to do is the two linear equations are given to us, which is known as your system. System means more than two linear equations, or which is also known as a pair of linear equation. So how do we solve by using the graphical method? So I'm taking an example. The example is like x plus 2y equals to 3, and the other equation is 4x plus 3y equals to 2. So firstly, what we have to do is you need to find minimum three solutions of both the given equation. For the first equation, now how do we find the solution? That's a question. So how do we find the solution? For that, you need to put the value in any of the given variable. It can be either in x or it can be either in y. The value can be put from anywhere else. It can either be negative. The value can be either put in x or y. The values can be anything. It can be negative number, it can be 0, or it can be a natural number. So if suppose, say for example, I am taking the value of a variable that is y is equals to 1. This value is coming from the pocket. It means you can use any value. You can use a bigger number or you can use a smaller number. Right now, I am using a smaller number, that is positive 1 for y. So how do you find solution? So in this equation, what you have to do is instead of the y, you have to put the value that is 1. So what it gives is x plus 2 is equals to 3. You take this 2, that is positive 2, to the other side. So it gives you as x is equals to 3 minus 2. So the answer of x comes as 1. So therefore, the solution, the first solution of this is, that is when x is 1, y comes as 1. So, as we have seen how to find the solution. So, I have already found the solution for the first equation. That is, I have used the value of x as minus 3 and found the value of y as 3. Then I have used the value of x as minus 1. We got the value of y as 2. Next one is 1 and 1. Similarly, we have also found the 3 solutions for the second equation, which is for x minus 4. We got the value of y as 6. Then for x we have used minus 1. We have got the value of y as 2. For x we have used 2, positive 2. So we have got the value of y as minus 2. So once you have found the solution, this box is known as a solution table. Basically it is known as a solution table. Once the solution table is written, then what you have to do is you have to plot these solutions on the graph. So I have already plotted the graph using the 2 solution tables. So this, as you can see, this line, the line which is A, B, is your first solution, that is first equation solution, which I have plotted. And this one, which is the point that is P and Q, is your second equation line. So as you can see, the 2 lines, they are crossing each other. So this type of lines is known as your intersecting. As in case of intersecting, the 2 lines, they cross exactly at one place. So this one place where the 2 lines are crossing is known as a unique solution. So now we are going to talk about the second example. The example is x plus 2y minus 4 equals to 0, and the other example is 2x plus 4y minus 12 equals to 0. So we find the solution for this and plot those solutions on the graph. When you have plotted the solution on the graph, you will get basically this type of lines. The first one represents your first equation and the second one represents your second equation. These type of lines are basically known as parallel lines. Now, in case of parallel lines, you see that the 2 lines, they never cross each other or overlap each other. So it means if the 2 lines are not crossing each other or overlapping each other, it has no solution. Now, we'll take a third example. As you can see here, the third example is 3x minus y equals to 2 and 9x minus 3y equals to 6. So, what we do is we find the solution for this. As you can see, this is your solution table for the first equation. And this is the solution table for the second equation. Once you have found the 2 solution tables, you plot this on the graph. As you can see, I have already done it, and the graph that we have is a single line. This type of single line graph is basically known as coincident lines. And in case of coincident line, it appears as if the 2 equation lines, they are overlapping each other. So if suppose the 2 equation lines, they overlap each other, it means it has infinitely many solutions. Now, the main topic of this class is how to find the area of the shaded region when the two equations, that is linear equations, are given to you and they tell you to find the area of the shaded portion or region, which is basically a triangle. So whenever you have this type of questions, according to the book, basically they deal with only few questions, but these are the type of questions which are maximum chances to come in the CBSE question paper. So in order to find the area, I have taken an example of two linear equations. The first equation is 2x plus y equals to 6 and the other one is 2x minus y plus 2 equals to 0. Here, as you can see, this is the way by which you can find the solution and this is the solution. In this example, we have only found two solutions. Once you have found the solution, then you need to find the solution for the second example, the second equation. Once it is done, you need to plot it on the graph. As you can see, I have already done the graph work and I have obtained a triangle which is the P, B and D. This is the triangle which is formed by the three vertices. These are the points which are known as your vertices. This P point is the first vertex, this B is your second vertex and this D is the third vertex. Now how do we come to know that this is the triangle which we have to take? So let me go back to the question. Now as you can see in this question, they have already said you have to shade the region bounded by these lines. Now what is the meaning of these lines? These lines means the first equation line and the second equation line. So the first equation line will act like your first boundary, the first side of the triangle. The second equation line will act like your second side of the triangle. So where is the third side then? The third side is represented by the axis which is been talked in the question. So in this question they have talked about the x-axis. So this x-axis will act like your third side of the triangle. So using the first equation, second equation and the x-axis, you have to shade a triangle, which we have done in this example. So as you can see in this graph, this line represents your first equation, this line represents your second equation. So we have already the two sides of the triangle, the first side and the second side. So the third side comes from the axis. So this line is your x-axis. So using these three sides, that is equation number 1, equation number 2 and the x-axis, we have shaded the triangle. The triangle which is formed by the 3 points P, B and D. Once you have shaded the triangle, then comes the very important thing is how to find the area. So in order to find the area on the graph, you can use the formula, that is area is equals to half into base into height. This is the formula which we can use to find the area in case of the graph. So the half will remain as the half. Now comes which is the base. The base is always taken as the axis which is mentioned in the question. So in this question it was x-axis. So x-axis here, this will belong your base. So in case of base, now how do you take the value? So you count the gaps in case of the graph. So as you can see, this whole block is one gap. So this is taken as 1. This will become 2. This is 3, 4. That means you have 1 gap, 2, 3, 4. So the base value will come as 4. Into, now comes the height. The point which is opposite to the x-axis, or you can say the point which is just opposite to the base, is taken as your height. So the P point out here will act like your height. So in order to find the value of the height, we go to the sideways and then see whatever is the value. Now you count the gapping. So this becomes as 1 gap, 2, 3, 4. So out here also the height comes as 4. Once you have found the value of base and the height, you start the calculation work. Like you can cancel any of this number this way, like 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4. What you are left with is 2 into 4. You multiply this. Once you have multiplied, this is just a number. This is not the area. So in order to have it as an area, you have to write the unit. Now in case of your area, we do not write the units as centimeter square or meter square. But you write it as the square in the beginning followed by a unit. Because in case of graph, we do not know in the graph, have we taken it as centimeter or the meter. So since centimeter and meter, both of them are your units, so we simply write as unit. So this becomes as the area of this graph. Now we are going to talk about another example in which we are given the y-axis. So as you can see, I have taken an example. The example of linear equation is x minus y equals to 1, and the other equation is 2x plus y equals to 8. Here you have to shade or find the area of the triangle formed by the two lines. The two lines means the first equation and second equation, and the third side will be your y-axis. In the previous question we had x-axis, and in this question we have y-axis. So how will we find the area? The methods are the same, just the sides they change. Instead of x-axis, now we have the y-axis. So here as you can see, we have already found the solution. So this is the solution table for the first example, that is the first equation, and this is the solution table for the second equation. Once the two solution tables are ready, you plot it on the graph. So this is your first equation line and this is your second equation line. So the two equation line act like your two sides of the triangle, and the y-axis, this y-axis will act like your third side. So using the three sides, we have shaded a triangle formed by the points, that is C, P and A. So this is the triangle whose area we have to find in this question. So once you have shaded the triangle, now how do we find the area? So you use the same formula. The formula is, that is half into base into height. So here the base is your AC and your height is your PM. The base will act like your x-axis and the point which is opposite to x-axis will act like your height. So here the base is taken as 9 centimeter or 9 units we can say, and the height is taken as your 3. Once you have done the calculation, the area comes as 13.5 and we write square in the beginning followed by the units. Units means it can be either centimeter or meter. So this is the area of the given equation in which we have to find the area of the triangle. Now we move on to the second method, which is known as the algebraic method. In the graphical method, we have already seen whatever is there in the book. Now we go to the algebraic. In algebraic, basically you have three methods. One is known as your substitution, the other one is your elimination, and the third one is known as your cross multiplication. So let us first begin with the first method, which is known as your substitution method. Let me explain the substitution method with an example. So let us understand the substitution method with the help of these examples which I have on the board. The first equation is 2x plus y equals to 7, and the second equation is 4x minus 3y plus 1 equals to 0. Now how do we use this method that is known as substitution method? So in order to use this method, we first go to the first equation, or if you want you can go to the second equation also. It depends upon how you are solving. Right now we are going to use the first equation. Now in the first equation, what you do is you keep one variable in one side and take the rest everything of the left hand side to the right hand side. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep the y variable in the left hand side and take this 2x to the right hand side. So it goes to the other side as minus 2x. So it means like I have already found the value of y, which is 7 minus 2x. Once you have found the value of a variable this way, you put the value of the variable in the other equation. Like here, what you're going to do is, instead of the y, you're going to put the value which is 7 minus 2x, and then rest everything as it is. Next step, what you do is, you open the bracket. So if you open, it gives you the answer as 21. Multiply the sign, so it gives you plus. Multiply with this one, so it gives you as 6x plus 1 equals to 0. Now, you need to solve this by bringing the like terms together. So 4x and 3x, they are your like terms. 21 and 1 is your like term. So you bring it together, so it comes as this. So in the next step, you solve the like terms. So both of them have a positive sign, which means we can write the answer as 10x. Out here, you multiply the sign, that is plus minus, it gives you as minus. You subtract this, which will give you 20 as the answer. But you write the sign of the bigger number, as 21 is a bigger number considered to 1. Then you follow it with the 0. You take this, the number, to the other side. So it goes as a positive 20. Now, in the gap that is between 10 and x, we have a multiplication sign. So you take the multiplication to the other side. So it will go the other side as divide. That is, we have taken 10 to the other side as divide. You cancel this out. So the answer of your x comes as 2. Once you have found the value of a variable, you come back again to the first equation and you put the value. That is, now instead of x, you are going to put the value which you have found, that is 2. So here, instead of x, I have already substituted the value which is 2. So it gives you the answer, that is 3. So you have the answer of x as 2 and y as 3. This is the method which is known as your substitution method. Similarly, you can keep on practicing some more questions. Now we move on to the second method of algebraic, which is known as your elimination method. So what I have done is, I have taken the same example as we used in the substitution method. So the first equation as you have is 2x plus y equals to 7, and the other one is 4x minus 3y plus 1 equals to 0. Now, how do we use this method? That is elimination method. So I'll be teaching you in a very simple method by which you can find the answer of x and y. So what you're going to do is, first of all, you have to arrange both the equations this way, bringing everything to one side. Then we have the second equation, which is written just below the first equation. Now, what I'm going to do is, you check for the variable which has the same sign in both the equations. So out here, what you have is, the x has positive sign in both the equations, whereas the y has positive sign in the first one but minus in the second one. So what we are going to do is, we are going to use the x variable. Now what you are going to do is, you multiply the two equations by a number. The number is going to be used from the first equation. So since we are going to use the variable that is x, so the number which is in front of the variable x, you will be using to multiply it. So in case of equation 1, you have 2. That 2 will be multiplied with the second equation. And the second equation number, that is 4, that 4 will be used to multiply the first equation. So multiplying this way, what happens is, you have the number in front of the variable as same, as you can see here. So since x had the same sign, so we multiplied the numbers, that is first number with the second equation and second number with the first equation, and we have the equations this way. These are your modified equations after the multiplication. As you can see, the numbers in front of the variable x is same. Now we need to change the sign of the second equation. That is, if it has a positive sign, you have to put negative sign. If it has a negative sign, you will be using the positive, and here also positive. 0 is a neutral number. Once you have changed the sign, now you will be only looking at the new sign of the second equation and the older sign of the first equation. So in first equation it is plus, and in the second one it has minus. So plus and minus it get cancelled. Now we go to the y. Plus plus means addition. So 6 plus 4 will give you 10y. Here you have minus minus, which is plus. So this gives you as 30 followed by the sign of the bigger number equals to 0. You take this 30 to the other side, it goes as 10y equals to plus 30. In the next step, y is equals to 30 divided by 10. Cancel this out. So you have the answer as y equals to 3. This was the same answer which we had obtained in the first method, that is substitution. Once you have found the value of a variable, then you come back to any of the unchanged equation, either the first one or the second one, and put the value of that variable. So I'm going to use the first equation. So as I've already found the value of y, I'll be putting this value in the first equation, which is 2x plus y equals to 7. So instead of the y, I'll be putting the value which is 3 is equals to 7. The 3 will be taken to the other side, which will go to the other side as a minus. So we will have 2x equals to, this is 4. X is equals to 4 by 2. In the next step, you divide this out and you have the answer of the variable, that is y, and x, that is 2 and 3. So this way you can find the value of any variable by the method, that is elimination method. So in this class we will keep ourselves till the substitution and elimination method, and in the upcoming class I'll be dealing with the cross multiplication and the other things which are in your chapter. So till then, thank you.